Traditional wellness practices teaches us how to ebb and flow with life circumstances and how to bend in the wind. Chinese medicine is a cosmological worldview and an offering to relieve suffering for as many future generations as possible. Using the art of Chinese medicine as my tool, I gently guide, nudge, and aid one's body and mind to find its own balance. My focus is to deepen our understanding of the way in which we relate to ourselves and in the world.
So this is, one of the questions that I get asked a lot is, can my body be restored from neuropathy? Well, actually, they don't ask this question. They ask it in a different way. They ask it where, can neuropathy be reversed naturally, or can my neuropathy be reversed at all? And so I actually changed the question. I changed the question to, can my body be restored from neuropathy? Now, there's a reason I changed the question. So in everything that I do, I like to define terms. Some people ask me, hey, can neuropathy be cured, right? So in order to know if neuropathy can be cured, we first need to understand, what does the word cure actually mean? So cure, I looked this up, I just Googled it, and it says relieve of the symptoms of a disease or a condition. Okay, so relief of the symptoms of a disease or condition. This was like completely different from what I thought the definition of cure was, but that's the definition. So, if based on this definition, then yes, there's many things that can relieve the symptoms of neuropathy, right? But then my question to neuropathy patients is, this just says relief of symptoms. It doesn't say that the symptoms don't come back, right? It just says relief. Relief does not mean that the symptoms go away permanently, right? So then I like to use the word restore, because the definition of restore is return to a former condition, which means return to a former condition when you didn't have neuropathy, right? So when I ask people this, they're like, yeah, of course. They don't want the cure. They want the restoration. They want to restore the condition. They don't want the cure, because the cure is only a relief of the symptoms. It will still come back, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how can we restore your body to the former condition when it didn't have neuropathy, right? So here's my 3 secrets to help your peripheral neuropathy. We kind of already talked about me. I'm the go-to acupuncturist for Austin, Texas's top neurologist. And my clinic also, because we are so good at treating neurology, my clinic is a rotation clinic for physicians and physician assistants. They come and train with me. And we are all about results and transparency. But enough about me. This is about you. Okay. So again, definition of peripheral neuropathy. What does it mean? Neuropathy is a disorder of the peripheral nervous system, the vehicle that allows communication from the brain and spinal cord to the rest of the body. So I underline the word communication, because that is key to restoring your body to where it was, or reversing neuropathy. Okay, so communication is the key. So when you have nerve damage, it's a disorder of the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system are the nerves that go to your arms, your legs, your face, just not your brain and spinal cord. Okay, so when you have damage to them, or or they are dead, the nerves are dead, you have neuropathy, where you have nerve damage. Okay, so that's what neuropathy is: peripheral nerve damage. So we can base it on that. So Western medicine causes. I'm not going to go into too deep. You can actually Google these, okay? But the 2 main are inherited and acquired. Inherited neuropathy are genetics, right? Errors in genetic code, new genetic mutations. Those, nobody can reverse 100%, or nobody can restore the original condition, because there's a genetic defect there, okay? But there's still things that you can do, right? The next is acquired. So acquired is like traumas, like spine injuries, right? Whether it's to the brain, whether it's to the neck, whether it's to the lower back. A lot of times it's to the lower back. Actually, we've been recently beginning quite a few of neuropathy caused by back surgery. Yes, back surgery can cause neuropathy, okay? And those are actually pretty hard to treat because when the surgery was done, there was damage. So the damage was done by the surgery. It wasn't because of something else. The second one is metabolic, like diabetes. Most people, when they think of neuropathy, they think of diabetes, right? But diabetes is not, actually, it's not one of the main causes of neuropathy these days. But kidney failure, liver problems, autoimmune diseases can cause neuropathy. And the number 4 actually is the most common neuropathy that we treat. That is toxin poisoning. So if we think about what toxin poisoning is happening more and more these days, you know, cancer is on the rise. So chemotherapy is on the rise, right? Chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, is the number 1 neuropathy that we treat in our clinic, okay? We have treated a few alcohol poisoning, okay? But chemotherapy-induced is the worst. This was just a patient testimonial. She had neuropathy due to chemotherapy. She lost sensation in her hands and feet. And thankfully, one of her friends told us, actually, no, it was her daughter. Her daughter told her about us. And so after she stopped the chemotherapy, she came to our clinic instantly. And because she came so quickly, we were able to reverse 99% of her neuropathy and restore her 99% of her original condition. And so timing is key. Timing is key when you seek treatments, okay? So let's start with the secrets. Secret number 1, the common link in all peripheral neuropathies, regardless of the cause that I just showed. Doesn't matter what the cause, there's a common link, okay? It's a lack of the number 1 nutrient in your body. So what is the number 1 nutrient in your body? It is oxygen, because you cannot survive without oxygen. You can survive, without other nutrients, but oxygen, our cells need oxygen. Every single cell in our body needs oxygen to survive. So when you deprive your cells of oxygen, guess what? They're going to die. Same with your nerves, okay? So every single cell in your body needs oxygen to live. So the next question you may be wondering is, then what prevents the nerves? What deprives the nerves of oxygen, right? And well, let's first look at what happens. So if you look at the top, okay, the top right here, actual shrinkage of nerve cells resulting in widened synaptic junction. So what does that mean, right? So up here, you have the normal nerve communication. They communicate right here, the synaptic junction right here. That's what the synaptic junction is about. So nerves don't actually touch each other. They float very close to each other, and they emit neurotransmitters and chemicals to communicate. So the closer they are, the better communication they get. But when you deprive them of oxygen, this is what happens. That synaptic junction actually widens, okay? Just think about this. If you, and for those of y'all who have kids or your spouse or are married, or a loved one, when you're talking with your loved one in the same room, are you going to have better communication when you're closer? Or what happens if you go outside of the room and you close the door? Or maybe you don't even close the door. Let's say you just walk into the kitchen. Then the communication becomes a little more difficult, right? What happens? What happens is you start yelling so that you can hear each other, right? And so that's the same with the nerves. The nerves, they're like, you're trying to yell at each other because they can't communicate, right? So that's what happens when you deprive your nerves of oxygen. You increase that synaptic junction. You cause the nerve cells to start shrinking, okay? So now to the question, what causes oxygen deprivation? Well, these are the causes, those in the Western medicine causes, the trauma, metabolic, diabetes, kidney, liver, these all cause it. But even doesn't matter what the cause is, there's a common link to them, okay? That common link is the number 1 cause, which is secret number 2. Secret number 2, the number 1 cause of oxygen deprivation. It is inflammation. Inflammation is a silent killer. We all have probably heard that inflammation is the cause of cardiovascular disease. Actually, chronic inflammation is the cause of all chronic disorders. All chronic disorders, okay? That's why it's a silent killer, right? So we have to focus on decreasing inflammation, because inflammation deprives your nerves, actually deprives of anywhere. Let's say you have inflammation in your joints, like arthritis, right? Guess what happens? Well, swelling happens. Swelling happens and it deprives that joint of getting nutrition. So let's define it in a different way, because some people, may have different definitions of inflammation. So inflammation, I like to define as retention of waste. So retention of waste. So it's like this. Imagine if you don't go number 2, like pooping. If you don't poop for 1 month, how are you going to feel, right? You probably feel like crap, right? Literally, because you'll be full of it, right? So inflammation is retention of waste. So if you have inflammation in your joints, then that means poop is accumulating in your joint. No wonder it's going to cause pain. No wonder it swells up, right? So just imagine that in anywhere in your body, poop is accumulating in areas where you have inflammation, okay? I'm just saying poop, but it's waste. It's not. Don't come back and say, "Oh, Jimmy said poop is in my eye." No, it's not. Okay, it's waste products are in your eye. So that's the same with neuropathy. Neuropathy generates the inflammation in your nerves. So it's like retention of waste within your fingertips, within your feet, or anywhere in your body. Okay, so we need to get rid of that inflammation. So let's memorize. Decrease blood flow, starves cells, shortens life. Inflammation. That's what inflammation does. It decreases your blood flow, it starves cells, and it shortens your life. So if you want a shorter life, get more inflammation, okay? All right, next. So how do we decrease inflammation and send more oxygen to a specific part of the body, right? That's probably the next question you're thinking, right? But let's understand, how is oxygen transported throughout the body? How is it delivered? Because we know we breathe it in, right? We breathe it in from the outside, goes through our lungs, right? But how is it then transported to every single cell in your body? And this is probably a no-brainer for everybody. It's through your blood, right? So we breathe it in, and then through our lungs have blood vessels, right? And so the lungs the oxygen gets infused into the blood vessels, and then our heart pumps it. Our heart pumps it throughout our whole body. And that's how we distribute oxygen effectively throughout our whole body, okay? Now this may sound very simplistic, but it's very key to understanding how to restore your body's condition to before neuropathy and reverse neuropathy, okay? See, the treatment strategy is simple. So in our clinic, we use infrared thermography. Or you can call it thermography or infrared thermal scan. It's basically a non-radiation scan. It detects infrared heat that comes out of your body. And we generate that heat through our blood circulation, okay? So thermography gives us another way of seeing how our blood is circulating. So this is a picture of one of my worst cases of neuropathy. That's why I included it here. It's an 80-year-old male. He had lung cancer. He had chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy caused neuropathy throughout his whole body, even to his face. This is one of the worst case neuropathies that we've treated. Most neuropathy is only limited to the hands and the feet, but this neuropathy was, this guy, it was all over his face, his whole body. And so this was in 2014. And so just to explain, green and light blue is where you want to be, okay? Red means heat, hot, inflammation. dark blue, purple, black is cold, which is bad circulation or no circulation. So you can see his legs were a lot blue, pink, you know, really pink and dark blue. And this is June of 2014. And after 2 months, you can see we're starting to see some green and less pink in his legs, right? We can see more of his feet. At this point, after 2 months of treatment in our clinic, his neuropathy in his whole body were, I would say 90% was gone. It was gone permanently. Now what was left over is just in his feet. That was the only thing that was left over. So remember, he started off with neuropathy in his whole body up to his face. So we eliminated everything except for his feet. We narrowed that down. That was only a 2-month period. And we've been treating him. We treated him over 6 months, and we were not able to eliminate and reverse his neuropathy 100%, but we were close to it. I would say about 95% of it, okay? But this is one of the technologies that we use in our clinic. And Chinese medicine is a 3,000-year-old technology, and thermography is pretty recent. It was developed in the 1960s, I think, 1960s or 1970s. So we use today's technology with ancient technology and combine them to help our patients, because that's the best, right? When you can use that, the best of both worlds. Now, if you go to a neurologist, what are they going to do for you, right? They're going to give you medications, usually pain relievers, anti-seizure medications, antidepressants, injections, immunosuppressive drugs. Those are the things they're going to give to you. They will also recommend physical therapy, like exercise, and also use a TENS unit, okay? So let's talk about neuropathy in the sense of, what can these medications help with? Because when you have nerve damage, you're going to some people feel pain, some people feel burning, some people feel tingling, numbness, pins and needles, hypersensitivity, okay? So these medications up here, none of them help with numbness. Numbness is when your nerves are dead. That's why you can't feel it, okay? When you have those other sensations, like burning, pain, pins and needles, your nerves are not completely dead yet, okay? And so these medications could help with those. They can help with the pain, the burning, but they do not do anything for numbness, okay? Physical therapy. Why do you need to do physical therapy? Because if the nerves on your feet are affected or are dead, it's going to affect your balance. And if you have what we call large fiber nerve neuropathy, and let me explain that. So when you go to a neurologist, they most likely will do a test called EMG or NCV. What it is a nerve conduction test. It's to see if you have nerve damage. Now here's the thing. Those tests can only tell you if you have large fiber nerve neuropathy, which are big, thick nerves. They cannot tell you if you have small fiber nerve neuropathy, which are the little tiny nerve fibers that are in your fingers, your toes, your kidneys, your eyes. They can't test that, okay? So again, the nerve conduction test can only tell you if you have large fiber nerve neuropathy. Now, if that comes up positive, that's a big problem, because when you have large fiber nerve damage, those most likely are irreversible. It's the small fiber nerve damage that is reversible and that you can restore function to, okay? And so when you have large fiber nerve damage, you're basically going to have balance issues. And that's why you need to go to physical therapists to help you. It's almost like helping you regain your ability to walk, but also help you maintain your muscle tone, okay? But here's the thing about any of those, and I don't want to get too deep into that because I want to get into something that you can do. So all of these provide temporary relief. None of them retrain your brain to heal the body. So remember the word cure. The definition of cure that we established earlier is to provide relief of the symptoms. These can provide relief of some of the symptoms, except for numbness, but they don't retrain your brain to heal the body. So if you want to restore function, you have to restore your brain, your body's ability to heal itself. That is the key to restore, which is to put your body into the condition before you had neuropathy, okay? So that's the key, retraining the brain to heal the body, all right? This is just another testimonial, but we're gonna move on. So the question that I wanna ask you is, do you want a treatment that you'll be dependent on for the rest of your life? Or do you want a treatment that could potentially retrain your brain to heal your body by itself, right? When I ask these questions, obviously it's a no-brainer. People don't want to be dependent upon something for the rest of your life, right? So that's, when you take medications for neuropathy, that's what is going to happen. If it even works, okay? It doesn't work for everybody, okay? There's no surgery. Actually, surgery is one of the causes of neuropathy. And so if you want to take a pill for the rest of your life and be dependent upon it, then there are options. Medication is one. Even supplements. Now, I know there's a lot of supplements, out there that are promoting, it can help your neuropathy. Yes, they can. But supplements, just like medication, it doesn't stimulate your brain to retrain your body to heal itself. So what are some supplements? So we're going to jump into what are some supplements that you can do, right? So what helps the nerves regenerate? Vitamin Bs. The B vitamins help your nerves regenerate. Specifically B12, okay? B12 is vital, but all of them help nerve regeneration. So B1, B6, B12, they all help. And so if you buy a supplement over the counter that says it helps with neuropathy, I guarantee you 100% of the time it will have B12 in it, okay? So B12 is something that you can use. But again, the question is, do you want to have to take a B12 supplement for the rest of your life, all right, in order to keep your neuropathy at bay, right? So there is an option to retrain your brain, actually. And the best method to retrain your brain, and this is, as far as I know, I don't know a lot, I don't know everything, but as far as I know, this is secret number 3. The only treatment that can retrain your brain is acupuncture. Acupuncture has been time tested for over 3,000 years to be able to retrain the brain to heal itself. Because acupuncture does 2 things. Acupuncture, number 1, can move your blood. So depending on where your acupuncturist puts the little acupuncture pins, they can move your blood circulation anywhere they want in your body. So if you have inflammation in a specific area, remember, inflammation is retention of waste. They can use acupuncture to push new blood to that area and drain that waste, okay? So that's the first thing acupuncture does. It can move your blood. The second thing, and this is the beauty of acupuncture, it has the ability to retrain your brain to heal itself, to do that healing by itself. That's the beauty of acupuncture, right? So what does that mean? That means once your healing process, your body's self-healing process is restored with acupuncture, you won't need to do acupuncture because your body will be reprogrammed to self-heal again, okay? Now, if you do something stupid, then yes, of course, you're going to need acupuncture again. But let's assume that you don't do anything stupid and you eat the right diet and you exercise, you meditate, you do all the right things to maintain your health, physical, emotional health, then yeah, you won't need acupuncture, right? So that is the beauty of acupuncture. Now, how does the acupuncture do that? Well, just imagine, this is an example of you are touching, your finger touching a candle. So what happens when you touch a candle, right? Well, hopefully you take your finger away from it, right? Well, people with neuropathy, they can't feel the heat, so they don't take away the heat. I mean, they don't take away their finger. But let's say in a normal person who does not have neuropathy, they will remove instantly their finger from the candle, or a hot stove from a candle, right? So what happens in that 1 second, right? So when you touch the candle, the fire of a candle, that fire sends a signal in your finger, which is called the peripheral nerves. It sends a message up your nervous system, up your arm to your brain. Your brain processes that data and say, oh crap, this is too hot, so I better remove the finger. So the brain sends a message to the arm, to the muscles, to tell the muscles to pull back your finger, right? That all happens in a second. Acupuncture does the same thing. So depending on where your acupuncturist will stick the needles or the little pins, they're sending a message to the brain to tell the brain, hey buddy, you better move the blood to my fingers because they're not getting enough oxygen, or to my feet, they're not getting enough oxygen. So please vasodilate, which is open up the blood vessels, and push more blood to my feet, please. And that happens also in a second. And so that's why in our clinic, in my clinic at Achieve Integrative Health in Cedar Park, Austin metro area, we develop our own acupuncture technique called QRA, which is quick relief acupuncture. So when neuropathy patients come to our clinic, and let's say they have some pins and needles, some burning pain or pain with a neuropathy, when we stick the acupuncture pin in the correct location, within 10 seconds, the patient feels a reduction, if not an elimination of their pain, okay? Numbness takes longer, but for the burning and the pain, the pins and needles, we get that instant relief for our patients, okay? So it can happen. All right. So by reestablishing the communication between the central nervous system, which is CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, that's how acupuncture works, okay? So let's memorize again. Increased blood flow nourishes nerves, restores life. Acupuncture. So acupuncture increases your blood flow, nourishes nerves, and restores your life. So if you want to live longer, get some acupuncture, okay? Now, common questions that people ask us, does acupuncture work for everyone? No, it does not. Unfortunately, it does not. Depending on the cause of the neuropathy, sometimes it just doesn't work, okay? But most of the time, like in our clinic, 90% of the time, it works, okay? How will I know if acupuncture will work for me? These are common questions people ask us. Well, you won't know until you try. So if you never tried acupuncture, you will never know, okay? So go to an acupuncturist. If you need help finding one, contact me. I will help you find one. I train acupuncturists all around the world, not just in the US, on our techniques, on our protocols, our neuropathy protocols. So, as I'm teaching more and more, then I have more, students out there that can help and duplicate my success. So if you need help finding someone, just always contact us, okay? But you won't know until you try. And so typically what we do in our clinic is we start off with what's called a testing phase. So we'll test the patient. We'll test you. We're going to test you by doing 6 acupuncture treatments within 2 weeks. So that's 3 treatments per week for 2 weeks. And these 2 weeks, we want to see some improvement in your neuropathy. No, it is not going to magically go away in 2 weeks. I wish it could. We just haven't figured that out yet, okay? But for now, it's not going to, okay? But we do want to see some improvement. So pain, tingling, numbness, pins and needles, we want to see a reduction of those. If you have numbness, okay, we want to see improvement in the numbness, okay? We want to see improvement in your balance. We want to see improvement in your ability to walk, to stand more, to stand longer, to walk more, and not fall over, not drop things. We want to see some type of improvement within those 2 weeks. If we see 0 improvement, then the acupuncture will not work and we will stop right there. Okay? So that's typically what we do in our clinic. Another question people ask is, how long does it take for acupuncture to retrain the brain to heal the peripheral nerves? Now, here's the thing. Peripheral nerves, or nerves in general, they grow super slow. 1 millimeter per day, 1 inch per month, 1 foot per year. And here's the thing. Just in the tip of your finger or your toes, you have trillions of nerves. So we need all trillion of those nerves to grow 1 millimeter per day. If they do, then you will have more speedy recovery. You will have more faster restoration. But it's difficult to get all 1 trillion or trillions of nerves to grow 1 millimeter per day. That's why it takes long. Okay, don't go into this thinking, oh, I'm going to get a few weeks of treatments of acupuncture and I'm going to be right as rain. It ain't gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna take months. Now, it's not going to take months for you to get relief. Like I said, we expect relief within 2 weeks. Okay, usually they get relief within 1 week. But in order to have more of a restoration of your restoring of your organ functions, restoring of your nerve functions, it's going to take months. And it's also going to take your work. Okay, so this is now I'm going to talk about what can you do, because there are things that you can do at home to help your neuropathy. So we all know, if we want to be healthy, what do we need to do? Diet and exercise, right? So this is no different. You got to work on your diet. Okay, so what do we do? What do you do? What can you do on your diet? Well, I already explained that you need B vitamins. You need that B12, right? So what foods have lots of B vitamins? Animal protein does have lots of B vitamins. Okay, so that's why you will see a lot of neuropathy programs out there. They recommend the paleo diet. Paleo diet is high animal protein. Now, that's not necessarily what we recommend in our clinic, but I will tell you the paleo diet can help. But the paleo diet, if you do it too long, is actually harmful to your body. Okay, so here's what we can do. This is what we do, what we recommend for our patients. You do need the animal protein. We just don't recommend that much like the paleo diet recommends. Okay, we have to understand, going back, if you can remember the slides, oxygen deprivation is the #1 reason why your nerves don't regrow. What is the cause of oxygen deprivation? If y'all remember, it's inflammation. So what's the most pressing issue right now is inflammation. Inflammation in your hands, your feet, okay, and the nerves, right? So the #1 thing we need to do is decrease inflammation. That's why acupuncture is so effective, right? But obviously, you can't do acupuncture on yourself. Please don't do that. Please don't get some sewing needles and start sticking yourself, okay? Go to a professional. But what can you do at home is to do things. You have to eat things that can reduce inflammation. So what are the best things that reduce inflammation? They are called alkaline foods. So if you're familiar with acid and alkaline, inflammation generates acid. Yes, acid like battery acid. When you pour battery acid onto something like on anything, what happens? It dissolves that thing, right? Well, that's what's happening in your nerves and your fingers. You've got so much inflammation. Doesn't matter what caused it. It could be chemotherapy that caused it. You've got so much inflammation in your feet, in your fingers, right? That is dissolving your nerves. It's killing your nerves. So you need to put more alkaline foods, not acidic foods. So what are acidic foods? Animal protein is acidic. Yes, it doesn't make sense, right? You need animal protein, but then it can also hurt you, right? So animal protein, sugar, these two are the most acidic foods. And if you have nerve damage, you need to reduce these, okay? Alkaline foods are the only foods that can neutralize the acidity. So what are alkaline foods? Vegetables. You don't need to get crazy, specific about which vegetables. Just do vegetables. Vegetables in general. So this is what we recommend our patients in the beginning, is we recommend more of a vegetarian diet in the beginning, okay? Vegetarian diet long-term is also not healthy. Okay. There's no diet that's going to be healthy long-term. Okay. So we start off with the vegetables to reduce the inflammation. And then we start adding the animal protein, but only about 2 to 4 ounces per day. Okay. 2 to 4 ounces per day so that we can get that vitamin B12, right? So those are some things that you can do at home. Start off with a vegetarian diet, maybe do it for 2 weeks or a month, and then start incorporating animal protein after that 1 month, okay, slowly back into your diet. So that's one thing that you can do is dietary-wise, right? Don't go out and just purchase supplements, you know, buy a neuropathy supplement, this here, nerve regeneration supplement, okay? Most of them won't hurt you, okay? Because supplements in general are safe if they're third-party tested and pharmaceutical grade. And you would really have to take a lot of it to really hurt yourself, but don't do that. Go to a professional to figure out what supplement you actually need, okay? Now, the second thing, we know diet and exercise. Exercise. So what did if you remember back previous in the slides, we need oxygen, we breathe it in, and then what distributes it? The heart. The heart pumps the blood that distributes the oxygen to your peripheral nerves, right? That's why you need to exercise, okay? Cardio exercise is super important for neuropathy patients. Now, for some, for neuropathy patients, it's hard for them to walk for long periods of time or run. I mean, they can't run. So stationary bikes, okay, swimming, walking in a pool, these are perfect. But if you can't walk, just walk. You need to do the cardio exercise because you need that heart to effectively pump all the oxygen you're breathing in to your peripheral nerves, right? But then also, you also need strengthening exercises because when your nerves are dead, your nerves control your muscles too. So if your nerves die, your muscles are dying too. Your muscles are shrinking or atrophying. So you do need to do some strengthening exercises, right? So which strengthening exercises do you do? Okay. Ideally, you go to a physical therapist because they can direct you to how to do exercises that are safe, right? So that you don't hurt yourself. But if you're walking, if you're bicycling, if you're swimming, you're automatically exercising your muscles, okay? You can do resistant bands also. So those are the things that you can do at home to help start the process of restoring your nerve functions before you go to any practitioner. And if the practitioner you go to, they should be addressing these things because if they're not, then you're not going to have a permanent resolution. You're not going to restore your nerve function. You're going to have the cure, remember, a relief, but it's still going to come back, okay? So very important. Now, this is not something that you just do temporarily. You will have to do this for the rest of your life. Guess what? So do I, okay? Even though I don't have neuropathy, I got to do this for the rest of my life. Nobody's immune to this. So we're just getting you back on track to do the right thing.